All right, and we are recording. Do 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 do. Let's see here. We are giving them just a little bit of time to finish spending their gold while I get some things adjusted anyhow. So poisons for the most part have to be imported. I do already have all of the poisons already set up though, so if you tell me which one you are looking for, I can just make them viewable to you in the little consumables tab. I didn't add it to the compendium, but if you were wanting one, I can just drag it right over to your character sheet. Yep. Let's see, so that is items. Oh, there it is. I believe I put that in tools, pouches. Yep. Boom. All right. What kind of poison were you looking for, Brian? Okay. Yeah, I mean, low key. I can like share your ability to see all of these at some point, but I'm pretty sure I imported over like 50, 60 different poisons. So a little guidance on which ones you are actually looking to use will make things faster in the short term for sure. Uh, So pretty much any of the poisons are going to go for an attribute or an effect. None of them are just straight extra damage. Uh, Hurting Khan is probably technically as close as you could get to doing extra damage. Saturn, baby, you gotta relax. Mom will be home soon. Okay, it's okay. It's a good girl. Lay, lay down. No. Let's see. Why is it doing that? My man's just going right to the hard stuff. No, I absolutely do have that. So configure ownership, toke, owner. All right, now you can drag those. So from the items, consumables, uh, there's one for poison, and then you will see in that poison folder, arsenic now appear. Lay back down. Lay. Oop, lay down. There. Very nice. Everybody else setting up fine? Yeah. You said brain rot? I don't have that. I might have specifically not had. If there's like no cost explained for it, that might be why. Um, what was the other question? Oh, makes sense now. I was like, I'm pretty sure I heard iPad. N- n- now I get it. Just subject them to our culture. That's kind of depressing. That's probably about one of the first cultures that we all got to share as one. That brought the races together. Let's see. He's gonna be this guy. Uh, quite literally with the system I set up, it's gonna be this guy. Uh, that one is pretty expensive, so if you plan on taking doses of that, pay attention to the cost. The frequency is pretty intense. Only one save kind of sucks, but if they don't save, this is pretty intense. Uh, no, that's definitely going to be provided to you as part of the mission materials. You're I would like to wait before we start talking about defiling currency and the name of an advantage. Um, if we could just make it like, I don't know, 5 more sessions, and then we'll start talking about it. Um, I am sure you would not. Um, yeah, if you really, if you're encumbered even with your pouch. Yeah, here we go. It doesn't make it weightless, but let's see what the difference is for you at least. I mean, it's pretty pretty close, but not quite there. Uh, yeah, getting into some lighter armor definitely be about the best thing we can do. And then huge shout out there. There's something called a mithril chain shirt, which is basically just your chain shirt made with mithril. Costs like 1,100 gold, but only weighs like 10 pounds. And it is otherwise also better than the regular shirt, as it allows you to have a higher dex bonus total, which you have a pretty high dex, so that could come in handy. Excuse me. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like that's the first I heard you chant. Hello. I didn't say you weren't here. I said I just didn't hear you. You propped in with the facts. Oh, you did do that. You did do that. That's my bad. Um, it's a girl for weapons. 300 for weapons, 150 for shields or armor. One of these days, I will get you guys to spend your gold ahead of time. One of these days. Yep, yep. You can you can double check the attack just to make sure, but it absolutely should. Yes. Hmm. Yes. It's just going to be separate, but I believe there should be a way that you could link the poison, possibly by dragging the poison down to your toolbar. And if you click on it, that should, I would think, let you share it to the chat, which we'll just do the save through that. But it's not gonna like. I mean, unless you want to take the time to specifically adding it as an effect to your attack. But the only thing is, then you have to remove that text later. So I mean, I wouldn't suggest it. Let's look. Oh, lay down. Down. Yes. To explain where the gold came from in the first place, and where the dossier that you guys got to review ahead of time, um, you had been led through the gates of Shinkyo, deep into the middle of the city where you had went up an elevator. The dwarven architecture on either side kind of stands like these giant stone pillars, and you are not exactly sure what it is that is powering the elevator that takes you up, but it's this giant stone slab that seems to rise with ease. And you have to imagine that it's probably somehow related to some of the water wheels that you see being spun by the waterfalls that cascade along the sides. Um, and then you guys make your way even deeper into the city and go up a second elevator, seeming to be powered the same way, before going even deeper past another armed gate that goes even further into the mountains, so far hedged away from the entrance that you really start to get the idea that you are in fact in a defensive fortress. This is not just a city. These are not just walls in the sense that walls would be for a house. This is a fortress town, and it is built to be immovable. And you have made your way to the capital of this, or not the capital. I'm sorry, the palace, the center of this immovable town. And as you enter, you would have been led. I'll even. It's gonna make me drag him all the way. There we go. There we go. Hello, everybody. You would have been led inside. You gotta relax. I'm doing stuff. Come. Sorry. I was worried about this. You would have been led inside and immediately have saw a grand table that appears to already have a lot of figures put onto it, almost as if planning out the conflict already. You see two different colored types of troops stationed on the field, and it doesn't take too long to look at it, even though he is walking you past it, for you to realize that what he's actually planning is defense in case the city is attacked, and the model of what you're looking at is actually Shinkyo itself, and he's figuring out how he would defend the city in a siege. I'm just gonna walk you guys past that. You'll follow him down this hallway to the right here. And then up one time. Yeah, you should definitely be able to see. Um, no. I mean, he's right there. He's literally at the entrance. Yeah, I mean, when I click on him, and I looks like he has vision to me. No, I mean, he's literally standing right next to a light. He's actually standing literally between the middle of two lights. Shit, I mean, I thought the most recently I had his character literally illuminating. Um, okay, I've quite literally updated you to have light beaming around you. Can you see now? All I could say is reload. I'm not sure, brother. I'll also delete his image and put it back in, I guess. Can you see now? Yeah, you absolutely do have a token. Figure ownership. I did. Still nothing? All right. I mean, we're just gonna hope that that doesn't continue to happen, and we'll troubleshoot this again if it does. And this specific spot really doesn't matter if you technically see it. Would have preferred it, but if this is the only one that it happens to, we're just gonna fucking roll with it. Pray to your god, Hilarion. Uh, 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 anyhow, as you guys come into this next room, you will see a study. They a lot of papers strewn about. Toke, you will see Kiritaka going through some reports himself, and you will see Rikuya head back to a large chalkboard. As you guys enter, Kiritaka is going to hand each of you the dossier that you already have now. Um, Again, I just wanted to do that so you guys wouldn't have to read the whole thing in game and waste time, you know. So this is how you get the dossier in the first place. And then you will be taken back to this chalkboard where he will begin to basically explain the dossier to you. Let me pull it up real quick myself. Basically, first we would ask, do you understand what makes the Ikkaku Peninsula unique? It's kind of just like talking to the party. He'll nod. Smile at that for sure. And he'll pull in front of his chalkboard down a map of Menkai. If you look at your map of Menkai, you'll be able to kind of follow along with what he's going for here. But he is going to first gesture to all of the Ikkaku Peninsula and everything east of the Seven Venom Springs River. And say that this region has been united for nearly 13 years now under one banner and has saw much prosperity in that time. But unlike most of Menkai, it has not had to do so under imperial rule. The reason for this comes down to our unique borders. I mean, he's going to first gesture over to the west of Seven Venom Spring and explain that the Empress and many, many before her have failed to tame the barbarian tribes that fight in the Asajin grasslands. Sorry. I'll do two little unlocks for you here as he explains that the Umogo are a tribe of barbarians that have set up villages quite a bit closer to the Forest of Spirits. Those about the only people that the Forest of Spirits feel truly respect their ways enough to even be allowed to get this close. If anyone doesn't remember, the Forest of Spirits have kami. Kami are like these deities, low-level deities in a way, that have been attached to an object, in this case, the trees. And so almost every tree in that forest has a kami attached to it. And generally they're pretty protective of their area. So the mere fact that a tribe would be able to set up that close to them does show a deep understanding and respect for nature in the first place. I mean, they're definitely a unique people to even be allowed to be there, and that's something that culturally, pretty much everybody with Ilarion would understand, seeing how he is our newcomer to the land. And then you explain that the Utair are a much more nomadic bunch, and that they are the real issue that is preventing anybody from reaching, even having consistent trade with the Ronin camp, let alone trying to reach the Spirit Road. They tend to get worse as winter is approaching, and they're trying to make sure that they're going to be able to eat themselves. But they are the reason that Ikkaku does not expand beyond the river. But they are also the reason that the Empress has not expanded into Ikkaku. The Ronin camp, as you would point, just a little bit south of that, is another camp of warriors that at this point it's wrong to even call it a camp. It's closer to a town, in both in its size and how long it's been established. And they still don't really feel like they have a home. That is their home at this point. And even they are not under the Empress's rule. Further south, you look over like by like the Sagari Forest or along the Hishikadidi coast. Uh, the Sisagari Forest has kami lords. If kami were like a low level deity around deity level, kami lords are by all means deities. We are talking god level creatures roaming the earth. Uh, and because of that, the people of this coast could really care less about the Empire. They respect the forest above all, and they respect those spirits above all. And because of that, the Ikkaku Peninsula has found itself in the unique position of being the only spot in all of Menkai that is completely devoid of an imperial border. That's part of what makes the audacity of her trying to have control of your region just because it is doing well financially so audacious in the first place. Is that she can't even tame the area around you guys. There's no part of her empire actually touching the Ikkaku Peninsula Empire. Um, He's gonna point a little east of the Ronin camp and explain the issue, however, is that the barbarian tribes keeping the Empress away have also made it impossible for us to stabilize the region, which leads to things like Senior Hikiku, a bandit fortress that they have isolated themselves from many attack and been able to launch many of their own. Again, making it nearly impossible for us to try to form any type of trade with the Ronin's camp consistently when they have positioned themselves right between us. And then you'll see kind of a real look of pain on his face as he shows you just south of the bandit fortress and just east of the mountains, and mention that this used to be a generally safer area. So it was considered frontier. There's a chance that you would get hurt back in the day by a roaming barbarian squad, but it was unlikely. And then something like 20 or so years ago is when the Oni started to appear. And not just regular Oni, but some really powerful Oni sometimes just randomly showing up, causing a rampage, causing chaos, causing harm, and just continuing on their way. And because of that, this entire region is pretty much devoid now. However, the Daimyo is attempting to still keep an eye on it. And because of that, he does try to keep a scout regiment down there. However, at this point, nobody is responding. And so, what he would like for you guys to do is to somehow neutralize the threat in the Oxygen grasslands, which is primarily dealing with the nomadic tribe. If you can, securing an alliance with the Ronin camp, which is not sure that you will be able to deal with the barbarians in any sense. Somehow neutralize the bandit fortress and check in on the scout regiment and find out if they're just in need, if they're dead, and if they are dead, just how bad is the situation. Any questions? Any comments? Anything? Many will make them. Many will be. Many of them will be quite clear just visually. They can look quite different than you or I. Uh, he will kind of turn to Kyugo and smile and say, your friend here even has a little bit more of an Oni look about him with the horn and all. And he puts his hands up and he goes, Kyugo is an honorable man. All I'm saying is that they will have many a varied appearance, and even our friend Kyugo here, you can tell is a half Oni at most. Uh, mhm. It's tough. They have all had the opportunity over the last 13 years to have decided to leave their little city and choose to come to the peninsula if they wanted to, which is generally much safer than where they are choosing to live, and they have not chose to do so. So ultimately, for whatever reason that may be, um, they've really caught themselves in a divide, all for their own reasons ultimately. But there is at least some level of reason for all of them to not want to be in Ikkaku, apparently, at least in their eyes. Until go ahead. Absolutely. The goal is for us to actually stabilize the region and create a secure border that stops the Empress from moving in. He's gonna go quiet for a moment in contemplation and say, do any of you know why I killed that man tonight? He's speaking of the man that he asked to truly surrender, and who kind of spat at his feet. And he says, "I'm proud of you for defending your people today, but you spilled blood at the Moonlight Festival, and I could not let you do that alone. For I'm not sure you understand just how much weight that decision is going to carry." And the thing is, the Empress knew that that was the position she was shoving us into. It was done on purpose. Her goal is to attempt to tax us so hard before winter that we don't survive winter. And then there won't be a threat to deal with. She knows that we have to resist, and she wants to make us look like rebels. So the best thing that we can do now is first form a strong border to ensure that she can't advance against us, and then we will seek to push out against her. Phil, real quick, give me a perception check. Nice. 10 was my DC in mind for what I thought was going to be a super obvious thing that you just have not brought up at all, and I'm shooketh. Shooketh me, brother. Thank God that you passed that, because I would have been a little sad and probably would have just threw it somewhere else, but whatever. You notice a book is sitting on this desk with a skull that has a giant gaping mouth and some glowing magic sigils along the bottom. Yeah, low key, I truly thought to myself, if I just throw this crazy looking book on a desk, he's gonna say to himself, "What is this thing?" Like, I know Phil, I can. That's fair. Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to just like, you know, be even prominent, I was just baffled by your seemingly lack of curiosity in it. Maybe that's my bad if you did plan on bringing it up. But yeah, if you want to bring it up later, you absolutely may do so. Do you have anybody else have any further elaborations, questions? Um, I imagine what they need, and kind of just like almost like he's like it's ridiculous to himself as he says it, is security. If we can offer them consistent trade of food or uh, anything that isn't going to be pillaged or pilfered, uh, I think that they would benefit from that greatly. We just have to prove that we can make that possible. He's he's talking about because of your family being race farmers, Phil. So anyhow, to that point, something to really make clear is Rice in this culture, especially in this time period, is almost like food gold. Like it is, it's a big deal. And that is part of where the Ikkaku Peninsula's wealth comes from, is right how, excuse me, Mount Kumajinja. There is the Ikkaku Rice Basin, which is a giant basin that produces tons of food. A lot of that food gets sent down the river and would eventually be capable of transport even to a place like Ronin's Camp. So in part, the value of the Ikkaku Peninsula isn't just that basin, it's the fact that the river has farming terraces all the way along it, and they have a stronghold of the Kamafushi port where there is a lot of fishing. So, amongst the three big points of where food comes from in the Ikkaku Peninsula, they produce a lot of food. And in a society where not having enough food stored for the winter means that your entire village is dead, food is of definitely a form of gold. So I mean that in it of itself, you would even know is a form of leverage for trade. And again, just comes down to the whole reason this hasn't mattered so far is you can't trade with people if you keep being robbed and pillaged. Daimyo will nod at that for certain, but turning back to you, Hugo, he will shake his head and say, reports never show more than 10 to 12 at a time, but other than the fact that we know they're using that as a foothold, we don't actually have any idea what their total numbers are. And he'll add even to that, even the marker on the map for their fortress is just an approximation of where we believe they are footholded. We don't even exactly know where they're stationed. We just know it's somewhere in that area. Before you guys would leave, he would introduce you to a dwarf who had kind of just been standing quietly this entire time with a ledger board and a book next to him, or underneath the ledger, I should say. And he would say, "This is Dorzum Greybelly for the acceptance of the undertaking of our safety here. Dorzum's going to ensure that any goods that you guys need for the upcoming travels are taken care of immediately by the Stonebound Compacts and the Merchants Guild. For anyone unfamiliar, the Ikkaku Peninsula has been under heavy trade embargo, so trade here can be difficult. You do not just get to walk into a shop and see like 20 spears lined up in a row in Shinkyo. That is not how things work here. Instead, you usually put in an order, and depending on how priority your order is, would decide when your stuff gets made. You guys are Yeah, absolutely. Especially because, she's tried very hard to specifically prevent you guys from having the infrastructure that you need to keep the city running, especially when this is a unique city with a lot of unique architecture and infrastructure. The only way that you've been able to keep it going is by having the mines inside the city actually producing a lot of the raw resources, the Merchants Guild producing a lot of the actual things that are wanted. So rather than being focused on like importing and exporting like many merchants guilds would be. They are more like a crafting guild for all intents and purposes. Um, that really, for the most part, only operate in Shinkyo. And the only real trade that's coming outside of the Ikkaku Peninsula, for the most part, right now, comes from the Yakuza families who are smuggling. So right now, all of that's to say, you guys are having a connect with the actual inner circle of merchants so that your goods can be made on demand before your trip. Um, and he's also, of course, the one who's going to take care of the decision that you guys make. So now is the time that you, as a party, will get to vote. Do you want to do option A or option B as a group? Do you want to do the 5 horses, or do you want to do the wagon? Hmm. Rikuya is gonna kind of laugh to him and say, we're not just gonna throw you bareback on a steed. We're gonna throw you on a riding saddle, and it's a well-trained horse. I don't think even for an inexperienced rider you'll have too much difficulty, as long as you know, don't try to do anything crazy. Um, Dorism would announce himself and say, "Whatever you need, I'll take care of. Just don't ask me for anything too ridiculous, okay?" And of course, out of game, you guys have already got your items. This is again just I didn't want there to actually be a ton of bloat when you guys were buying your stuff, so I tried to have all of the leveling up and the buying and stuff taken care of ahead of time. Um, And basically, while you guys get rest tonight, he's going to be the one securing the horses, since that's what you guys have decided on. And we'll get you set up with the stables, and we'll make sure that the horses are loaded with the rations and provisions as is explained in the dossier. Excuse me. Um, yeah, that's basically it. Rakuya is gonna ask if there's anything else that I can do to assist you. And with that, he will just bow to everybody. Specifically, as you go to leave Hugo, he will call out to you for just a second and say, um, I might not be sure of any specific bargaining tool, but if anyone would understand the Ronins, I would think it might be you. I'll kind of just leave you with that. Um, Chelsea's home, so she's gonna make sure the dog is not wiling out for the rest of the session, which is nice. Hello, sweetie. All right. Yeah, so everybody else has turned and left. The Kiritaka is still just going through some papers on the desk there in front of you, Arashi. And Rikuya at this point is standing kind of above you, kind of just looking over the banner down at you. Yep. And you kind of just like see him going through like almost the 5 stages of grief on his face. very confusingly, and then he goes, I mean, you can take the book. Whether or not you can read the book will depend on whether or not you can get the thing open. I can't. As you approach the book, you would see that it has a strong clasp along the side of it that doesn't seem to unclasp anywhere and is just firmly bound. It almost looks like there have been attempts at like sawing at it before, and there's some like coloration that is discolored at least, but no damage, no actual damage to the clasp. And along the bottom are 10 sigils with a skull in the center of the book with a gape mouth. And as you actually get close to the book and you are standing there with it in your hands, you realize that just inside of the mouth there actually appears to be like a button you could push. Before we get to that, my bro went literally right to touching the button. He literally didn't even give me time to put the book into his inventory. All right, so I am gonna configure ownership. Arashi, owner. Arashi, you are getting what is one of the first of a very unique type of item. I'm quite excited about this item because it is from one of the modules that I'm getting from the subscription. So from the Ripper 93, one of his modules allows me to add custom locks in a plethora of different fashions. And so let's kind of walk you through just the beginning of your situation here. I have to actually figure out why isn't it popping. Well, for instance, so when you go to campaign utility now and you go to a locked book, what happens? For journal, in the journal, sorry. No, we mean journal. When I say the button J, that is your quest log. Yeah. So, um, beyond just that little bit of text, though, I don't know if you're seeing what I want you to be seeing. Is there a puzzle in front of you now? Okay. So yes. So I'm not going to answer that question, but I would like you to think about it. And maybe I did that as a hint. Um, uh, basically what you're seeing, if anyone's ever played like Wordle before, what Phil has in front of him now is a set of 10 sigils, or letters, and he has to now try to get each one of them into the correct place. If he guesses the correct letter but he puts it in the wrong location, it will glow a separate color. Then it will glow if it is incorrect entirely, or if it is correct and in the correct position. Um, and you have to solve that to be able to get your book open. Now, we're not going to wait for you to do that. You are free to do that at any time, and that's kind of just something that Arashi is doing. Um, I also thought so. So you guys make your actually, even before that, Rikuyu's just gonna see you already starting to tinker with the book, and he's just gonna start laughing to himself as he thinks about how long he has spent doing that exact same thing, and then he is going to worry for your sanity, and then he goes, "Good luck with that. You're gonna need it." Yeah. Nice. All right. Um. So you guys managed to exit, unless there's anything else you wanted to say, Phil. Actually, even he will go to walk you out, Arashi, and everybody that's waiting in the chamber. He'll say, if anyone does not have a place to stay here in Shinkyo, please stay here tonight in the palace. The, excuse me. The bedrooms are just to the north here. And he'll gesture up the staircase there, making the offer for anyone to stay who does not want to find other lodging. What do you got going on here, Corey? Got some like buff showing? Yeah, there's a bunch of beds up there. But irregardless, whatever. Um, with that said, you guys are able to get some rest for the night. Is there any type of preparation anybody would like to do before they set out on travels, or potentially are away from the city for quite a while? Okay. Is that all you want to say about it, or is there like a prayer you had, or like a little ritual you want to do, anything like that? Like I said, totally up to you as a player and what you enjoy. I could care less either way. Um, maybe that's not the best way to word them. But I just want you to do whatever you actually enjoy as a character. I don't need there to be more substance, but so you go and you do a prayer to your deity. Remind me, who is your deity? Was it? Are you talking about Yama? Yep. 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 He is also like volcanoes, and there's something else too. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I think that was pretty good. Um, anybody else doing anything to prepare for the night? Or to prepare for the journey? Your deity is Kalen? Is that right? Okay, okay. You know, knowing your affliction, uh, Rikuya would definitely make sure that an old bottle of well-aged rice sake made its way to your room for the night. Can I just say that the amount of things that I've learned about rice should be criminal? Is there a library I can attempt to do research to garner information about deciphering the book? Uh, frankly, no. No, there's you have no idea where you're possibly going to learn anything about this book at the current time. Short of playing with that puzzle. Anybody else before we advance? Okay. Um, he. What are you actually asking about it, Brian? It's just like ready for your next attack. Like whenever you like pull it, your weapon from it, you know. Oh, nothing for you because as a ninja, you get poison use, which allows you to handle poisons without worrying about poisoning yourself. Correct. And to double down on that, I will say the one bit of a caveat I'm going to be giving your character as far as that goes is I have decided to create a distinguishment between poisons, which I consider to be kind of like a handled product, almost like we're talking about like a form of medicine or pharmaceutical, versus poisonous ingredients like you getting the poison from a spider or a snake, whatever the case may be. So you are not impervious to the effects of getting all of those poisons. You are still in danger while you were dealing with the raw substances. It's only after you've turned them into poison that you are no longer at risk of screwing yourself. And that's where the sleight of hand checks are going to come in of you actually trying to handle these things carefully to keep yourself safe. Um, Anyone else? Oh, Phil, you want to know about reading the runes? Um, Other than the fact that they glow, these are not like any runes that you are familiar with. Um, I feel that. I'm not saying that if uh, don't wait, you might get some things that help you along the way, but 12 is also a lot for, because again, if you remember, just guessing a letter, even if it's in the wrong spot, it'll still glow yellow. So it's still pretty handy to identify with some process of elimination, you know. Um, that's totally up to you. Anything else before we move on, gentlemen? All right. So, what's up? Perfect. So, you guys have a mostly normal night of sleep. Nothing happens. Maybe a bit of restlessness about the fact that there is quite a long journey before you, and you know that you guys are on a time limit. You got to try to get back before winter, or there will lead to the potential of you guys getting caught out in the snowstorm in the mountains. And if that doesn't stop you from getting home, it'll at least make it a lot harder, if not kill you. It's not to say that you can't make it back into Shinkyo even if it started to snow. Just especially the longer it's been going on, the more difficult that it is going to be, the more perilous it will become. What was that roll for, Phil? Okay. He's like, nothing. Oh, alright. Sure it was. So, very interesting. Um, so, in the morning, you guys are escorted out when you're ready. Everyone's ready for the trip. You'll find that in the center chamber here, he has already organized all of your goods. Everything that everybody has ordered is catered and ready there. And when everybody is all set and organized, he will lead you to the stables that have your horses. I hope this this makes everything easier for you, gentlemen. I really respect what you guys are doing, and I hope that everything turns out okay for us. What's wrong? You gotta back up. Sorry, guys. At the end of the day, y'all just trying is more than anything. The city of Shinkyo is proud of you. Remember, a mountain is unmovable. And he will, with that, usher you guys to head out on your travels and not to waste any time. As you guys take off on your horses, you will have like this alternative route that basically carves out along the side of the city, and you will get to see just the enormity of the city, the beauty of the city, and with that, just all of the buildings and all of the homes and all of the little people that from the outskirts that you're on look like ants, and you just get this moment of realizing that in this moment you might be responsible for every single one of those little ants and what happens to them, and that these are your people in this moment. Even for you, Ilarion, the traveler who came because of a vision and believes it's just to spread his religion. You are one with these people now, as your fate and theirs hang together. It's okay. And with that, you are going to be emboldened, and you guys are going to start to ride. You ride along the mountain, and it is not easy. It's actually, these are strong horses, don't get me wrong, but you're in a mountainous region, so you are riding a bit slower than they would normally be able to move, as they navigate these hard to move paths. But the good news is that all along this mountain is river. And because of that, in this society, all along this river are villages. Life follows the river, basically. And so, for the most of the trip, what you guys will experience is the river, and then a plethora of villages, and then the actual main road that hugs around the opposite side. And so, even though you are in a mountainous region, you are going to be moving a bit slower. Um, you pretty much never feel like you're in a mountain as long as you are following the river road. And just in the sense of you're always by civilization. You're truly never rural as long as you're following the river. And that's basically what you guys are doing for the beginning of your trip. You are going to be following this river road for about 10 days until you reach the only ferry that will be able to escort you and your animals across the river. You could try to cross with your horses, but this river moves pretty fast, and that's usually ill-advised. One of the things that makes the Ikkaku Peninsula so safe in the first place is this river. And so, rather than have any bridges that enter into the peninsula, this ferry is the choke point. And so you are heading to where everybody heads when they're ready to leave this peninsula. Um, and so it's going to be about 10 days travel from Shinkyo. Um, and as we reach the end of your first night of travel, and you guys can tell that your horses are starting to get tired, you are missing one here. There we go. Passing by a nice little set of businesses that have set up around each other for you to put your horses off in the stable. And there's a inn off to the side if you just want to go get rest. But to your west, you see that there is a hot spring bathhouse, which is quite popular for this region. Bathhouses are known for their healing qualities, and many people like to enjoy them. Um, a fact that a lot of Americans, I think, would find hard to believe is that these are notorious for having a little bit of a smell of like sulfur. Some of them could actually have quite a bit of a smell of sulfur, but most of them have at least a little bit of a sulfur smell, which most Americans would associate to like rotten eggs. But in this time period and in this location, they actually related this smell to healing. Thankfully for Americans, other smells that are commonly kind of mixed in with the sulfur, and sometimes were much stronger than the sulfur, and we'll say it's the case in this case for us. Uh, there is a lot more of like a cedar smell as well, or some different types of heavy mineral types of smells. Very very kind of could be kind of metallic. Um, and so in this case, we have something that's kind of a very much more woody, much more of a cedar smell. The hot springs here almost seem to be making all of the wildlife surrounding the springs just very aromatic, and so the entire area just smells very very woody, with just a little hint of sulfur in the back. Um, and as you guys enter, um, and first, would anyone like to enter? So as you go to get into the hot spring, then Toke, you will hear a woman you will hear a woman as her sandals are clacking hard against the wood platform up here over to the north, as she comes out and yells at you, "You get out of my hot spring before you've put on your robe!" Uh, As soon as you apologize, she her voice will almost completely change, as will her demeanor, uh, as she kind of gestures over towards the door that she had just opened and says, "Well, of course." I don't know if I should have that right now, but thank you, sweetie. Um, I didn't see what he said, and I have to read it. I don't know what you were trying to say, Phil. If you're having a stroke, press 2. Oh, um, basically, she'll start to lead you and anyone who would like to follow Toke and actually participate in the bathhouse. She'll lead you inside, in the northern section here, and you will, of course, have to relinquish your weapons and your armor inside, and she will instead give you, a little robe. And at which point you are free to exit at any of 3 spots of the building that all lead to a different set of hot springs. So you can exit back out where you came in the first place, and there's a couple there. You can exit out 2 different spots in the back end of the building, either here, and then there's 2 in the middle, or at the bottom, and then there's some at the bottom. Are you talking to the bathhouse lady? You're asking her. Absolutely. So, to give you an idea as far as that's going to go, uh, basically, when you will have exited the peninsula is the moment that you have actually traveled across the ferry. That's when you're actually crossing the river. So, the way that it is currently planned out, if there are no additional diversions or such, it's going to take you about approximately 10 days to be crossing the river. So anything up until that, you could pretty safely assume. I mean, excuse me, don't get me wrong. If you would like to ask, you are free to, but you could pretty safely assume most of these people are pretty loyal to. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if you want to ask her that, you still can. That is totally up to you. Alliance, alliance to who? The Empress, way out here. You want to take a bath or not? I will add that something that you will notice is just about each one of these hot springs does have at least one other person in them. I really wanted to take the time to actually get around to trying to generate images of like hot springy looking people, and I just didn't have it in me to throw regular tokens on there. So neither one got the chance to happen, but each one of these has at least one person also in there. Um, okay. In fact, for where you are, Toke, as you cannonball in, you come up, you will see that there are three people around you. Uh, Kind of varying ages, different races, couple of dwarfs and a human. The three of them seem pretty stuck in a conversation. They definitely notice you cannonball, but it doesn't stop them from having their argument. Uh, if you okay. Yeah, as you're eavesdropping, I mean, you'd hear him say, I mean, 29 years, wells, docks, winter berths. We still call it a camp? And another guy will say, I mean, temporary settlements look permanent right before they're burned. The human of the three will say, burned by whom? Takino says, empires do not ignore towns that grow too close to their roads. Uh, so I'll say, it sits between Spirit Road and the peninsula. I mean, that's not neutral ground. That is leverage, and that's precisely why it must be supplied, or why the Empress is going to erase it. Listen, if it's erased, it won't be your ledger that burns first. Why are you worried about it? Mm. As the conversation comes to a close, Toke, you'll notice that there's a real sound of defeat in the human's voice, which is like an older male. As he says, I mean, perhaps, but I mean, no one will know because no one wants to lead an expedition now. Not with the oxygen stirring, with the snows coming. And they kind of all just agree on that and go back to almost having like different conversations amongst the um one guy's kind of just relaxing in the water while the other two start to have another conversation about random shit. What about everybody else? Everybody else also choosing to pop in a bath? Okay. There are, let's see, which one are you at? Okay, you're by there. Okay, so you would be the one that you're closest by only has one gentleman in it. He is uh at this point like his late 50s. He has very wide shoulders and multiple battle scars that are showing. You get the impression that this is probably a military veteran who has seen a lot of combat in his lifetime, and he's kind of just soaking quietly. He sees you as you get into the water, kind of gives you a slight nod of acknowledgement, but doesn't say anything. The water is quite hot. It kind of feels like getting into a hot tub is probably the closest equivalent most people would know. And the water is actually kind of moving around as well, very much like a hot tub. The lights that they have set up do glisten on the water in a way that almost makes it feel like you're slipping into a magical portal as you get comfy. What's that, Alarian? Oh no. That's odd. I'm can can I just say I how oh no no. Okay, so what has to be edited on this one? There you go, buddy. And then on top of that, let me see. when when the guy who's never had eyes before gets vision turned on. This is a beautiful map. Uh, okay, so I changed it so that whenever your token goes down now, it should already have that properly set up for you. But can I just say for a moment how much I, as the DM, appreciate you for figuring out what was wrong, and then just because I love you, I love you. Um, um, with the, um, let's see. We have Hugo here. You're down here at the bottom one. So the are you entering into the one you're at right there? Okay. So we get to session two, and Brian's low key already trying to get fans that don't exist yet to ship moments. Like, what is the filth? Um, I'm showing them a bathhouse right now, and Brian's like, someone's gonna write fanfic about this. I'm like, we don't even. Chelsea's like, he's not wrong. Um. Philip said you're gonna be the first fan that does it. Eh. Oh. She's looking real zesty over there. I think you might have just poked the bear. Anyhow, the one that you enter into, Hugo, has a couple of younger men. If you had to guess, probably like younger 20s or so. Um, and you can definitely tell that there's some sort of day labor of some sort, and they've definitely had a long day. They're just soaking in the tub beside you, having a conversation. You hear one say, I cleared the shallow above the third bend. Before the grain wagons move? Always before. Hard to work with them trying to cram through. They kind of sit there and keep talking about it. You get the impression they're most likely both road workers. Um, if you would like to say anything to them. You, uh, as well, will, especially for the spot you're at, kind of surrounded by the wildlife here, you definitely get that heavy aromatic scent that the hot spring is bringing out in all of these plants. Um, let's see. Alarian, you want to go next? Where would you like to go? Arashi did a pretty interesting little hop sketch there. I asked Alarian. I don't know if he's away. Um, Yes, so basically the idea here is that you start in the building to get changed into your bathrobe, and then from there you are free to either exit out here, which would be these set, or you can exit out down here, which is the middle set, or you can exit out at the bottom, which is a different set. Okay, you got it. You're gonna pass by a couple of pretty cool looking lanterns and very nice, beautiful tree. And as you pass by the tree, you're going to enter in to what is actually a couple of very small shrines with a couple of different figurines in it. You'd be familiar enough religiously to know that one is representing a moon god and the other one is representing a sun god. Both gods that are actually familiar with both the um, pre-harvest and harvest festival. The moon god being the one that is most commonly worshipped before in the pre-harvest, and then a month later, most oftenly the sun god is worshipped, and quite common to see them around, especially in this area, with as important as growing food is, and you just see a shrine to both of them there. Hey, sweetie. As you get into the water, let's see, for you, what the people you'd be by. Yes. Yeah, someone does have a dog laying on a little bed. You're you're definitely free to pet the dog. The dog looks as though when you approach that they have zero concerns about you being a threat. If there was ever a dog you felt like you could pet, you are sure. And even as you kind of look around for permission, someone in the pool there will tell you, just give you a little nod. Uh, that's Ralph. Um, and Ralph, sure enough, loves a good head scratch. Since you give him a head scratch, you'll hear a series of pleasant, delighted sounds come from him. Ralph is an old boy. You can tell he's been on the planet quite a while. He's enjoyed a good life, and he likes a good scratch, uh, which is good. Honestly, you need that moment because the conversation that proceeds as you're giving Ralph a scratch from a couple of the other people in the pool is not nearly as uplifting as a good scratch for Ralph. And they're talking about the Moonlight Festival last night, and you hear one of them say, "She chose the Moonlight Festival on purpose." She did. She isn't stopping. No. Hmm. It kind of just starts to go quiet from there, and uh, uh, as everyone, you realize it's not just Rikuya that feels like they are on the brink of war, or that they aren't going to have a choice but to defend themselves, but that um, everyone feels that way. Would my man of merriment like to say anything? Have you tried alcohol? uh, you you know actually hear cheers from even baths around you. And as you look around, you realize that most of these baths are at least a bit separated, which you hadn't really thought too much about until you start to hear cheers from the baths that you cannot actually see. People all agreeing with you, Larian. Um, but most of the baths are actually at least mostly walled off from each other for the most part. So there's at least some level of privacy, a little bit. Um, Multiple people definitely agree with you. Here, here. And then I'll let you have a soak as well. The spot that you are at has quite a bit more water, so there's quite a bit more of a focus on that mineral spell. Definitely very metallic and just a little bit of sulfur behind it. Arashi, are you available? I hear you yelling in the background. Okay, cool. All right, bet. You're good. I mean, we have to sacrifice him to Cthulhu now, but no. You might need to tell him he needs to get a plot soon. Cthulhu doesn't exactly wait for anyone, you know. Um, Give me one second. Hey, sweetie. Thank you. Um, Arashi, the pool that you get into just has two um, much older dwarven women in it. And looks like they're pretty much fully submerged, just about to their chin in the water. You did. Not that, again, you can mostly tell, because these mostly just look like two faces barely popping out of the water. They're both chilling here along the bottom, so I mean, you're not exactly next to them or anything. They're enjoying the nice flow of water that's coming pouring out. And they don't seem to be talking or anything. They're just soaking in the water. Seemingly every now and then you kind of hear a groan, perhaps from a relief of pain, but no conversation. Hmm. Depends on exactly where you're at. If you go right up to the edge, there's kind of like a seat, for lack of a better word, where at that point it's only like a couple feet deep at the most. But if you go like more toward like where you're at right now, I mean you're basically at the edge right now, so it's like built like a wall. So like you're like 2 feet deep if you're actually on the seat, like in actual water. Oh, I'm sorry. Like 10 feet, 5 feet, mm, like 8 feet. Not in this situation. You're going into water. Yeah, for one, you have to go a whole 10 feet to take even 1d6 of damage, and you're going into water specifically, so I wouldn't make that an issue. Okay. Uh, So as you slip down into the middle one, uh, a bunch of children are going to erupt in laughter, and their parents are just going to watch you kind of evil-eyed, like, God, I hope little Timmy doesn't try to do that. uh, and let's see here. Oh yeah, those children are definitely all swarming around and harassing you because they think you are entertaining now. I was explaining that because you came in so grandiosely, the children are very entertained by you and are all now trying to use your body like a jungle gym. Yeah, you could tell the parents that were agitated with you are at least slightly less agitated now that you are keeping their children entertained. Okay. Let's I didn't. Well, yo, it's always your own, man. Never trust the op. Um, so where is? Mm, there we go. After you guys have sat in the tub quietly for a while together, Kamari, the older gentleman will kind of let out a groan as he stretches his back, and you see a large scar along his rib cage. He kind of looks at you and he can acknowledge you as a warrior as well. So he says, "It makes you old quickly." Yes, that. Yep. Yeah, that's what he's like. He acknowledges that you're also a warrior. Like he could just look at you and see it. You know, he's stretching, basically feeling the pain of the years that he has carried on his back at this point. Um, second. Okay. Um, so yeah, he's just saying, uh, combat makes you old quickly, basically. He's feeling it, feeling his years. Hmm. You're good, brother. I actually have like a tickle myself, so I definitely get it. Um, he'll say, you know, it's a funny thing, Honor. On one hand, it can protect a family, secure a family, but I've never seen it feed a family. And many a time I've seen it not protect a family. Yeah, honor is a funny thing. What do you, Owen Toke? The bathhouse lady is going to see this little monkey man walking up to her again. And. Huh? You know, you're not wrong. That fur definitely be sticking. Um, she is going to prepare to grab her shoe as she says, "What do you need now?" Spring to bring the horses to. You know, I like you. Not a lot of people tend to care about their animals, but I do. It, it ain't my spring, but it ain't nobody's spring. She'll kind of start pointing on her hand a little bit and draw you a little map and give you a couple of directions. Basically, explain this place that you can take your horses that aren't too far from here. That has a small little spring that they can enjoy. Um, won't like fully submerge them or anything, but it's not claimed by anybody, and they can drink it and dip their head in it and such. No one will complain. Could leave right now. Super close. Kamari. All right. Okay. Very cool. So a couple of you are the way that you're going. Not really. Yeah, I mean, Alarion would probably see you guys pass it along the path here, just naturally, if he happened to be looking over that wall that way. And um, basically, there's like, if you purposely tried to, yes, you'd have to push past the trees here. There's kind of a forest line that was developed along the line there. Nope, they've pretty specifically built this where there's either a wall or a tree providing privacy most spots, frankly. Yeah, I mean, we could even just say that you popped out this back door real quick here. Kyugo is right there. You could let Kyugo know. That's no problem. Um, Arashi, did you want to relocate yourself for the night to a different pool? Get yourself to somewhere more enjoyable. You can just join Kyugo or Alarian in a pool, maybe. Alright. One of them's up there, one of them's over there. The pool that you just walked by is also empty if you just want one by yourself now. The person that was in it's not in anymore. Right over here. Nope. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That the person that was here left. So this one's empty now. Alright. I mean, that was about all I had planned for here for the most part, unless anyone wanted to do any more interactions. Perfect. Obviously, she charged a nominal fee for your bathhouse, but it was pretty cheap. I'm not going to bother even deducting it from your guys' thing. Um, no, the for the horses. I'm talking about the actual bathhouse. Yeah. Um, Arashi, the one that the pool that you just entered is the one that has the merchants in it, and they are kind of still arguing about the Ronin camp a little bit. Oh, well, never mind then. If you actually want me there. Um, I mean, can't really refresh your mind because you didn't hear it. But what you're hearing now is they're basically just arguing about the efficacy or the realisticness of investing in the Ronin camp as a trading outpost, and basically explaining that they feel like it's either a really good idea because the Ronin camp needs a trade source, or a really bad idea because they think that the Empress is basically going to destroy the place. Hmm. And right now there's so it's two dwarves and a human that are talking. The older human basically keeps bringing up the fact or is trying to shut down the conversation, and it's funny because they keep bringing it back up, but he keeps shutting the conversation down because he says like, listen, none of this means anything if we can't get anybody that is actually gonna give us an expedition to reach the Ronin camp. Nobody wants to help us reach the Ronin camp to even try to set up this trade agreement. So, what does having this argument matter? Sato kind of look up at you from the tub, and he goes, "Are you, you're not making a joke of me, are you?" Eh, when is your band trying to head out? You'll see him kind of go white in the face for a second, as he obviously was not planning to begin this expedition tomorrow. Uh, but he immediately starts to get out of the tub, and asks where he can meet you at, which I assume you just plan on staying at the inn that is literally basically right across the bridge. You'd be able to tell him that, and he'll tell I will meet you in the morning, um, and I will be ready. He kind of thinks to himself, and he goes, "For the entirety of our travel, you won't pay anything for the inns, the taverns, or the stables. And should you actually be able to get me to the Ronin camp and I get trade set up there, I'll be in a position to help you much more than that. Do we have a deal?" He puts his hand out. That's fair. That's fair. Um, I guess I'll still get ready for the morning, and I will hope for the best. And he literally he leaves his two buddies right there, who are both looking a little flabbergasted and dumbfounded that this just like is happening in front of them. And he just leaves, immediately starts to get ready. What do you want to write? Uh-huh. You said human in the morning? Okay, so why are you writing this? I'm confused. I thought it was to like art make things be erasable. I can't argue with that logic. Um, and I mean, unless anybody else actually has any thing else, we will go to in the morning. Everybody, well, I guess before that, does anybody have anything else? I know, Phil. I got you. I got you. So, well, I assume you would like to talk to the whole party, and that's not going to happen until everybody is at the inn. If some people are with horses right now, and some people are at the bathhouse right now. So, after everybody has woke up in the morning, and you have finally all reconvened, getting ready to restart your adventure, you're having some breakfast, having a little something to drink for the morning. Surely should have thought of some breakfast food. Um, you get the opportunity to say what you would like to say to the party, Phil. Lodging. Tokes are adorable. There we go. Uh, no, no. So at this point, I basically gave the conclusion of unless there was anything anybody else wanted to do in the bath, you all go to the inn for the night. The horses got to enjoy the water because Kamuri and Toke took them to a nice little special place where they could splash their faces in it. Um, Soak their hindquarters. Um, And then other than that, you guys kind of just slept for the night. Like you didn't all meet up again at nighttime. You went off to your separate rooms, you slept, and now you are reconvened and you are all talking as you eat breakfast. At a game, Toke's love for animals way up here. Toke's willingness for sociopathy to humans also way up here. Jesus. I just he just Brian keeps hitting me with these moments where I'm like, oh, that was adorable, and I'm like, oh. It's like watching a sweet little child commit war crimes. Anyhow, I'm really gonna have to thank you, Jacob, because I was like, my maturity level really has to go up like a couple of levels apparently, because like, um, whew, someone said it for me. Thank God. Anyhow, yes. So, I, Hugo, did you weigh in on the matter? I know I heard from Kimuri. Oh, you're good. Just checking in on you. All right. Everybody is up for it. I don't know if you guys checked or saw the little quest update, but welcome to your first active side quest. Um, eh, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Uh, yeah, I mean, if he's dead, I'm not like you'll notice it's two different objectives. If you're gonna figure out how to get my guy there. I, d- I do this. Okay. With that, oh come on here. It was a little late there. I should have did that a little bit sooner, but I've also updated the campaign quest for you guys. You've officially entered into. You're heading to the other side of the moon. In disguise. You also did learn about the Stonebound Compact, so I'll undo them. You also learned a bit about the Merchant's Guild. I think that's good on that for now. Uh, you got kind of the base concept. He's not with the Merchant's Guild. The Merchant's Guild specifically that that's referring to is one specific Merchant's Guild that operates More so, exactly. He is trying to create the trade lines that will take the products produced by the Merchants Guild here. Because again, the Merchants Guild here is much less about importing and exporting and being like a seller to other people, and is much more about taking raw products and being craftsmen that turn them into the shit that the Ikkaku Peninsula needs because they're facing trade embargoes. The Empress is trying very hard to make it impossible for goods to come into them, even through smuggling, because pirates come in and hit the ships, and those same pirate ships aren't being harassed by the Imperial Navy, and don't seem to be harassing the Imperial Navy. So it pretty obviously seems as though they are working against you, or at least have an agreement to leave each other alone. Um, so basically, all of that to say that the Merchant Guild, specifically in Shinkyo, is a specific like crafting guild more than a merchant's guild, frankly. What he's trying to do is actually more of actually be a merchant, and he wants to create the trade lines between all of the excess food and goods that come out of the Ikkaku Peninsula, and he wants to be able to provide those goods to the Ronin camp. That has not been happening because every time somebody tries to set up a trade route, it gets destroyed. Again, he couldn't even find someone willing to take him out here to try to come up with trade terms, let alone actually start trading. Um, I was just about to say. So if you guys are on agreement there, you will find when you exit out of the building that morning that he is in front of the building already, and he is already standing next to a horse that is uh, probably about as heavily burdened as that horse could physically stand to be. Thank God that this man is on the skinnier side, frankly. Like you were thankful that this man is not that heavy for this poor horse, as he has it quite heavily loaded with everything he has decided is important for this trip. Um, um, just incredibly heavy saddlebags. I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a horse. You know, a horse does have a weight capacity. But if you had to guess, there's probably 300 or so pounds on this horse's back. He could probably still carry like another, 200. Deduct like 120 or so for this guy's weight, probably. But he's definitely like he's not overtaxing the animal, but he's definitely he. I did. But he no no it is a horse capable of carrying the load for sure. He if anything, you almost that's fair. Because he's definitely a good boy. He knows what he's doing. He's a powerful horse, to say the least, to the point that it makes it pretty clear that this guy has some amount of money. Like, this isn't the type of horse that just anyone buys in the first place. Let alone to then have the type of money to have just overnight had all of these goods on the steed in the first place. Um, as you guys come out, he's just gonna say, you know what? Half of me wanted to just think I had to have been dreaming last night. It was almost as if you guys fell out of nowhere." And he looks around at all the different weapons on you guys, and it immediately even becomes less of a dream as he realizes like you might actually be able to keep him alive for this. He might he might actually be able to do this. I did expect this general thing from Toke, and I am a-okay with it. Um, with that, you guys will set off for your travels for the day. Do 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 ba doo do do do. Oh, oh, I like that. Give me 1 second here. No, his is enabled. Yeah, I think it was just a lighting issue. Um, w- one of the other One of the other things I really didn't like about it is everything that I've learned about bamboo says that the way that it would grow, and so canon and the way that you guys are actually seeing it. We'll say the way you're seeing it now is more just based off your vision of what's available, but the reality of the matter is that your vision's basically being blocked by the rows of bamboo closest to you. It's not that it's a forest of bamboo per se. It's that the bamboo where it's growing grows so thick and so tall, and they grow so close together that you really can't see past them at all. In fact, some people would even use them for ambushes because you could manage to get your weapon fit between them ahead of time, and then you're just shoving it through, but you effectively have a wall that you're shoving it through because the bamboo is so hard to separate, and there's so much bamboo to separate. And they're incredibly hard to break. So, I also found out that is one of the things that they're able to eat. Like bamboo is grown very similarly to rice. Like it's actually I knew that like pandas ate it and did not realize it was otherwise edible. Um, yeah, because especially the areas that it does grow well, it's like I said, it grows very compact and it'll take up as much area as it can grow effectively, and because of that, it is stealing that space and those nutrients from everything else. Um, absolutely. With that said, you guys have entered on to you're just riding through, a little bamboo path. Um, kind of just representing. Yeah, it grows super tall, super fast, and like I said, it'll grow super compact. So like this chamber that you guys are walking through, like I said, just imagine that both ways that you look, it you could see nothing but bamboo because even though it's not just a flat wall of bamboo, the bamboo behind it or the bamboo to the side of it is so built around it that ultimately it really does end up feeling like you're just looking at a wall of bamboo. Um, One of the only actual real challenges of this path in the first place ends up being that every now and then you guys kind of have to like push your way over or try to squeeze yourselves into the wall basically so that a larger cart or something can make its way through. But other than that, you guys are just free to travel up along the path there. If you want to give me a climb check, absolutely. Oh yeah. Yeah, you managed to get a firm hold, and you kind of bend back a piece of the bamboo just a little bit, and you swing around and put yourself in the middle of it, so you're actually like hedging yourself between the piece of bamboo you bent and the pieces of bamboo that it was normally compact against, and you just start slowly shimmying your way up it, and the more you go up it, the more that the bamboo that you originally bent gets to go back into its original position as you climb up, you know. As you make your way to the top, you kind of hold on to the top of it with your feet and your hands at the same time, and you're able to prevail around. And at that point, you have a pretty good grip. So without any further checks, you're able to kind of just follow along the path, but from along the top. Unless you want to like hop over the path or anything crazy like that. But um, as you look around, I mean, the vegetation for as far as the eye can see. You definitely see some wildlife. You actually notice there's a smaller deer than you might be familiar with. It's called a sika deer. There's a few of them in a little family that are grazing. And other than that, you don't really see anything. Might be a couple of birds flying around. And it just comes down to heading along the path. Okay, so you guys are just have your horses walking right now, like you don't even want to be riding at full speed or anything. Okay. um, I was just teaching about bamboo. Um, so, um, yeah, I mean, you guys are just traveling along. Um, every now and then there's a couple of people like at the distance that you guys came so far that have kind of crossed paths going with you like the opposite direction. You pass by like a family walking with their child. Nothing crazy. No, I don't think anybody has realized that he's up here, as he's actually quite high. Um, it's just one of those things where like you don't really look that high that often. Yeah, as you guys reach the, go ahead. No, you asking a question about the shrine? No, that is more. I mean, they might be shrines. You're not necessarily sure. They're kind of just look to be like little statues of different figurines. Um, they do seem to be manifestations, at least this one over here, of a guard of some sort. These two, however, seem to be like in prayer or ritual or something, and this one seems to be um, some sort of priest or some sort of ritual offering. Outside of that, as you guys reach the bridge, you kind of just feel a sense of relief overcome you. It really felt like uh, the tension of being in this bamboo alley and for it being so easy to be flanked and for it to be so difficult for you to reposition alone just makes you feel uneasy, and to be at the bridge for a moment just gives you a nice bit of relaxation before you have to go back into another bamboo path. I will be very clear that any of the water that you are crossing on any of these maps is not you crossing the river. It's specifically you crossing a spring, which is just like a smaller diversion that will end up connecting into the river at some point. Um, Basically, I say this because I don't want you to imagine the uh, Seven Venom Spring River as something that you would be able to cross on a tiny bridge like this. That is not the case. This is just a tiny spring. Nope, nope. Um, Nope. So yeah, any water that you see on any of these maps up until we discuss the ferry is very specifically just a smaller spring that a bridge has been built for. The river is much too large for that. Gap, like down to the water. Oh, probably 10 feet. Or I'm sorry, that's bad. 5, 10, 15, 20, like 25 feet. I mean, if you want to try to bend the bamboo stalk back first. Yeah. Or the stone wall below. But yeah. Well, before I answer that, let me ask, how are you going to actually try to bend back the stalk? Okay, okay. So give me a dexterity check to bend the stock back, and then we will go into a acrobatics check. Mhm. Um, once for preparing for the trip, once after the bathhouse, and then about to be another one. So two of them so far, yeah. Yeah. So you try to bend it back, and your tail just doesn't make it very far in the first place. And so when you switch over to your feet, it, you're not really leveraging it a whole bunch. And so you guys watch as Toke tries to launch himself across, and he makes it all of about 10 feet and immediately falls into the spring there and is currently uh, trying to figure out how he's going to get up the scale of the wall here, and he realizes from in the water that the wall is probably like 8 feet, 10 feet before the bridge. You're low. Thankfully, this is just a spring, so it's moving quite slowly, and you're able to get them out. There's no rolls needed. You'll be able to get them out, no problem. It's just a matter of a little bit of time, and I think more than anything, the hurt pride of Toke, as once again you see a wet monkey man, his fur clinging to him, his pride not. And yeah, you guys just it would have been really cool. And honestly, it was pretty funny to me, the failure. You're funny. What a dork. Uh, is water wet? No. Anyhow. Oh, me and Kamari gotta actually make our journey, huh? Wee. No, I don't know. I don't know if Kamari specifically wasn't moving because he wasn't moving. That's a fair call out. I just didn't even think about moving him. Um, yep, that's fair. Um, and honestly, I wasn't even too worried about it. Um, and neither should you have guys been, because you continue the rest of your travel for the day, and absolutely nothing happens. And honestly, you get the sense that nothing was ever going to happen. It's a pretty unified region. Honestly, there um, is a pretty strong choke for most of the peninsula that it's not likely a lot of the Empress's men are actually here. Not to get any type of misinterpretation because of the Moonlight Festival. Um, there's no real reason to think that, there's a boogeyman around every corner. The Ikkaku Peninsula isn't dominated by uh, thievery or bandits or barbarians, at least not attacking on this side of the river. Uh, this is a pretty generally safe and reliable place, and uh, you are able to walk down an alley like a place that is a high ambush spot and not have consequences of it. It's kind of like being able to walk down a dark alley in New York and you don't think you're gonna get mugged. It's like a chill place, and that is a true part of the spirit of Ikkaku in the first place is that these are actually people that you can rely on. And so your day of travel goes well, and true to his word, Sato pays for your meals and lodgings for the inns and the taverns for the night, and you guys set out on your next day of travel. Of course, the horses as well. You'll notice. It's true. It can be robbed of beauty. Um, and with that, we will, unless anyone wants to actually do any dialogue or anything, kind of just skip right through you guys, sleeping, getting ready for the next day, having breakfast. Um, Toki will specifically notice, and perhaps you would as well, Kamari, that the feed for your animals in the morning uh, pretty high quality. Definitely better than the stuff that people would normally feed their animals on the day to day. Whatever he discussed with the stable definitely got you some shit you didn't know was normally available. And with that, you guys would continue on your way. I think the way that I'm going to have to do this one is throw a token on the map. But for all intents and purposes, you guys are not where your tokens are, which I'll explain in just one moment. Okay, so where your tokens actually are would be on the path just north of where you actually see them at. Just make sure everyone can see. Yep, cool. Um, what you are looking at, however, is that as you came along the bend of a mountain pass on the road, Phil, I always be in the middle of fucking talking, and Phil just types something, boop. Um, as I just immediately start reading. Uh, um, anyhow, it's okay. As you guys are coming around this mountain bend, you originally heard a loud crashing sound, and then you hear some yelling, some commotion, and as you come around the bend, you see that there is a cart that is hanging half off of the mountain, one wheel hanging off entirely as the contents of the wagon or the cart, it's kind of somewhere in the middle, frankly, uh, is almost starting to spill out, but is not. And the only thing that is keeping this cart and the donkey that is attached to the cart from falling over the side as it's in a harness strapped into him is a kind of like a wooden post in the ground that has a iron loop at the top. And that is because sometimes this happens along mountain passes. The wagon wheels aren't really that much wider than the mountain passes in the first place. So in an incident like this that happens, about one of the only things you can do to try and save your wagon is as quickly as you loop a rope in between that iron loop of the wooden post, and you try to loop it amongst one of the wheels of your wagon, preferably the one that's falling, and you hope that there is enough people for you to be able to pull your wagon wheel back onto the side of the road. Otherwise, you could lose your wagon, you could lose your animal. Um, Obviously, alternatively, if you don't think you're going to succeed at that, you could just try to release the animal instead. But as you guys are approaching, you see that while there was initially 5 people pulling on the rope, keeping this cart from going any further, 3 of them were actually either quite young or quite old or quite weak because you see that they fall off from the rope and the cart is immediately starting to slide as you gentlemen have your opportunity to hop in. Awesome. Um, I love that, Toke. Jake, do you want to do anything specific? Or are you just grabbing on the rope that they had? Bet. What about everybody else? Okay. Alarian? I mean, they just had 3 people that fell off of it. Only 2 people have grabbed it so far. So, and there was still some room. That yeah, absolutely. There we go. Uh, Correct. Not really from the angle, because the way that they're tugging on the rope in the first place is through an iron loop that is and then looped through the side of the cartwheel. So it's like using the physics to try to get the extra leverage against the iron loop, if you get what I'm saying. And you can absolutely do both. Nothing stopping you from helping with the rope after that, anyhow. Um, but I like it. Yeah, I like the initiative. So Hugo will be. Oh, I didn't do anything. That did it all by itself. That was pretty cool. My my man. Yeah. So Hugo all of a sudden just got as large as the mountain pass. uh, he yeah, bro got very large very quickly. And it will definitely be a benefit to pulling on this rope. Uh, Alarian, are you gonna go back to pulling on it as well? Okay, okay. Well, in that case, anybody who is holding on to a rope, and for you, Toke, you get to do it two because of your horse as well. Roll a d20 for, you could roll it for a strength check, but cumulatively, even if you entire party did it, I mean, you're only getting like a +2 for your strength. So basically, roll a d20. And then do a second one, Toke, for your horse. Um, you should have rested twice so far, so that should have gotten rid of two of them, and it hasn't. So we'll fix that for you. Toke, you still got to do one more d20 for me, buddy. Hmm. All right. Well, see the two peasants that are helping you guys. There you go. Uh, if you're holding onto the rope, I need a strength check from you. Yep. There we go. Yamasumi is with you apparently. All right, so now I am going to see what the reaction to the cart is in this situation. By that I mean not just um, if the cart is sliding against rock, but whether or not the donkey that is attached to the cart right now, gets upset about the fact that a creature just fucking doubled in size next to it, or that the cart is weighing it down in the first place. So, to represent that, I'm gonna roll a D100 against your guys' check. And it does. It does. It does. It does mean that so far. So you guys, you're pulling on that rope, and you do see the cart starting to shift back into line with the mountain path. Go ahead and do another round of strength checks for me. Arashi, are you doing anything else to assist, or would you like to grab onto the rope? Let's see. Roll for the two peasants that are helping. They didn't roll great either. 10 plus 10 plus 8 plus 7. Did you do a second roll for your horse toke? Oh, so 15. Yeah, okay. Yep. All right. So we got a 58 versus. You guys succeed, and you keep pulling it up, And the donkey already seems to be looking quite a bit calmer, as there seems to be a lot less weight pulling into him. You can see the weight of the saddle was actually like digging into his body. But it is not up yet. Give me another roll. Forgetting I have to do two myself. Let's see what we got here. 18 plus 5 plus 3 plus 10 plus 15. So we got 51. Oh, it starts to slide a little bit, but is still pretty reasonable. Go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead and go again. Alarian and Arashi, would the two of you like to do anything else to try to help out? You could try to calm the donkey. You could try to help pull on the rope. Alarian says, I can roll, but like it's not gonna look good. It rolls nearly twice as high as everybody else. I can roll. 5 plus 9 plus 3. 53. Not the garble mouth. Yeah, no, this isn't combat at all. And sure enough, it it starts to slide back up. You've recovered it back to where it was. Go ahead and do. You nearly have it up there. We're almost there. Let's see what may be the last set of rolls. Alright, almost added people's raw scores there. 12 plus 15 plus 13 plus 25. 6. Ooh, about the highest we've had so far there at a 72. It's pretty solid. We're almost at the top, so I'll give you a bit of a bonus. That's okay. With your bonus, you're gonna have it. I was gonna give you a plus 15 anyhow. You guys nearly had it to the top already. You guys finished sliding it. And you see the peasants who were holding it initially before you guys join in just collapse to the ground. Out of breath. Exhausted. Yeah, it's like when you get punched in the chest and you're trying to catch your breath, and it's you know you're breathing because you're not suffocating to death. But if anyone asked you if you were breathing, you would be thinking to yourself, "No, no, I'm not." Um, and it's what it feels like in that moment is that they can finally breathe again, and you obviously check on the donkey and see that despite being a little bit startled from what just happened and having a little bit of a gouge in his side there from where he was carrying the weight of the cart, he's okay. no, amongst everybody, everybody had a good share of the weight. I think especially if, two guys were managing to keep the cart afloat for a second. Once a bunch of extra people are and you throw a extra horse on top, I think that's fine. Uh, it's pretty short. Yeah, it's pretty short. Um, yeah, I believe that is also an option. Um, yeah, absolutely. And you will see the peasant who's laying down at first kind of startled by the fact that you're casting magic, but then he sees the donkey being healed before he can even really say anything, and he just says, "Hey, you guys really were a blessing today." Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, that's fine. Um, you can't target at the donkey because there's not even a donkey icon. I just thought that the map fit the mood of what I was going for, so I was like, they'll get what's going on here. Um, whew, okay. With that, you guys kind of collect yourself and you get to continue on your journey and for the rest of the day. Once again, and it is kind of otherwise uneventful. You pass by some wildlife, you pass by some other peasants and such, but um, nothing really of note. You guys are keeping a pretty good, about 21 mile a day pace, or yeah. Uh, and so you get to the night. Once again, Sato keeps his word. Takes care of all of the inn fees and such. Makes sure that everyone sleeps well, the animals eat well. You guys enjoy your rice cakes and your rice wine. Uh, about 17 other versions of rice. And uh, in the morning, you guys set out again for the day. And you have a pretty consistent travel for I don't know, for the first 3 or 4 hours. Nice tempo about it, not having any issues. And then you hit a point where um, it's kind of like an involuntary blockade of sorts. There is, excuse me, a bunch of carts that have all stopped, and those carts mostly attached to animals. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna have to throw a light on here again. Hold on. This is what happens when you prep tons of content. Um, so most of the carts, I guess I should probably put you guys closer to up here. The way that's really blocked is the path just to the west of you guys, and you can see someone that's standing basically just right underneath this archway, who quickly explains that it won't be long. It's just for the harvest ritual. It, out of game, everybody would be very aware that harvest rituals, while quite short, usually it's just like a 5 to 10 minute process. Um, it's basically like mandatory for you to participate. Like, it's thought of as incredibly rude if you do not partake in a harvest ritual. It's kind of thought of like guess the best way to say it for our idioms would be like biting the hand that feeds you. Like these are the people who are making sure you're actually fed, and you're not gonna hope that they do well. Um, yeah, it's a good way of saying it. It's weird that you say that because I've been thinking about that a lot myself and about how like I think the words like goddamn in my head. And I was like, I wonder if I should stop doing that. So it's just weird you bring that up now. But anywho, um, as you guys make your well, I guess first I should ask, what is your response to the blockade? Do you want to just try to push past it? Would you like to dismount with everybody else and make your way up the stairs? What would you like to do? Okay, okay. This so much isn't a festival so much as especially the moonlight would be. Um, Absolutely. As you make your way up the stairs, you would see just how different it was. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a little shrine, but the more important aspect of it is actually what is happening with the agriculture. Once again, harvest ritual. Um, what we're going to have happen here is kind of funny. I've decided to combine what would actually be like normally a normal kind of harvest ritual with a couple of simple rules, and that is actually going to decide uh, how the harvest for the Ikkaku Peninsula goes this year. I was trying to decide how I want to do it, and honestly, depending on how it goes could change a lot of things a little bit narratively for the Ikkaku Peninsula. And so I didn't really want to decide it. And so I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do that. And so this will be a simple ritual, yes, but I would say that I expect the ritual process to be a pretty good indicator of the success that the rice farmers are going to be having this year. So, um, basically, the process is quite simple. First, they're just going to put a marked rod and placed it in the irrigation channel, and they're just using that to check the water depth. They're going to make sure that the rod's steady, and they'll adjust the diversion gate. They'll clear some debris. Uh, and let's see, D4. So this is going to be three D4s altogether. So I guess just roll them all now. Let's see. Six. Interesting. Not as bad as it could be. You guys did a couple of things that were a benefit earlier. So I don't know if you saw the bonus objectives for the Moonlight Festival, but one of the goals was make sure that no resources were taken. I planned on somehow, whenever I decided how I was going to do a harvest, making sure that I gave you a bonus for that. So you guys still do fall into the good harvest range, just barely with your bonuses. But basically, what happens is first, they checked the water level. Water levels are a really big thing when it comes to actually doing any type of rice farming, especially in the mountain ranges because they're controlling these levels. So they will open these gates that are kind of like mini dams, and that's how they change the water levels. So it's a big important part of it. And depending on how much water is available can decide how many of these basins they're capable of filling, kind of decides their like maximum volume. So after that, what they do is they basically like bend down three of the rice stalks, and they will sheave three of the bundles. Um, Rice kind of looks like grain, like wheat, in its grown stage. Uh, and so they then sheathe three of them to kind of like see how dense they are. And then they'll take some ash from last year's harvest and they scatter it into the channel. I think it's supposed to be just for like the nutrients of it and stuff like that. Um, and as all of this is happening, you guys will notice that there is a much older woman dressed in very eccentric uh, garb, like a very like Eastern style dress. Um, she just almost looks out of place. Like she's like sitting down at this little table and she's separate from everybody else. And it's almost like she's a watcher of the world, not part of the world herself. She's just sitting with her little tea set. She's enjoying her drink, and she's not interacting with any part of the ritual, which, for some lack of a better word, is literally just farming. Um, just quietly observing the whole party. Uh, and she would, once she caught one of your eyes, would call you over and ask you if she could make you a cup of tea. Yeah, absolutely. She wants something from you. Do you have no idea what that is? In, in fact, you can also, since anyone, and she's inviting the whole party to sit and have tea. So, um, I honestly, like, for a lot of these maps, I really don't care. It's one of the reasons that I'm doing lighting just right off rip for the whole one. If I want to make it a big thing, I will. But um, Alarian, you rolled quite high. I'll tell you. Um, she certainly doesn't seem to have any ill will. Uh, you get that same impression that like she called you over with purpose. Like you don't really feel like she's gonna request anything, but you still have this like egging feeling that she's gonna get something from this interaction. And yet you don't feel like there's any ill will there. You're not like concerned about it. I'll have a cuppa. All right. So Toke, Alarian, and Arashi are sitting around the table. Is anyone else joining in? Kyugo's gonna stand and watch. Okay. What about you, Kamiri? Okay. Okay. Um, Toke, as you came up first, she will pour your cup first. Give me a second here. Do 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 do. So, Toke, as she pours your cup in front of you, she's gonna push it over to you, and then she's gonna put the cup into your hand, And while the cup is in your hand, she's going to reach over your cup and you're going to see her start to sprinkle these little clumps of freshly sheaved rice on top of your teacup. And she's going to put her hands underneath your hands and she's going to pull them to her. And she's going to see her just stare into this cup. And she's going to look up at you for a second. And she's going to look back. Kind of look at you again for a lot longer. Almost like a sadness in her eyes. And finally she's oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, funny enough, she's going to answer a question with the question, uh, and say, you know, what is a poacher? And kind of as if answering it to herself, she says, "Can it be a man who kills for need, or is it a man that kills only for a trophy?" And she finally matches your eyes and says, "When you find him, what will you keep?" And then just pushes the hand back up to you so that you may enjoy your cup. Doesn't. Um, with that, she will turn to who second tier? Who second volunteered? I think it was Alarian. Yep. Alarian. She says, Your turn, sweetie." She'll once again fill your cup, put it into your hands, and she sprinkles her little bit of freshly sheaved rice into your teacup, and she watches how it starts to drift. She kind of swirls your hands a little bit, watches how the rice starts to clump. She's quiet for a while. She goes, "Ah, you can see things that are not." "Hmm, so do I." Referring, of course, to the fact that you can see visions, things to be. After a moment, she elaborates and says, vision seer to vision seer, there's never only one meaning. The danger is not in the vision, it is in believing you understand it. She'll push your teacup back to you and allow you to enjoy your tea. In fact, she'll take her hand and put it back under yours for a moment and pull it, and she'll reach underneath her little table for a moment, and she'll add a little rice wine into yours, push it back to you, knowing, of course, that you are appreciative, and she'll put it back under her little table there, and then she will turn to, was it you or Rashi? I believe you're my last one. Rashi, she looks up. Oh, Samsarin. That's a rare one. This will be fun. Starts to fill your cup, puts it into your hand, takes your hands, and starts to sprinkle her a little bit of rice. You notice that your rice really, really starts to clump up in the cup. Um, she doesn't look surprised. She's just studying your rice. She says, you know, I'm a little stumped on you. I'm really not sure if you've come back to finish something or to do something new. I don't think that you know. Push you back your cup. Hmm. As she looks around the table and all of you, she kind of smiles and she reaches under the table and pours herself a shot as well. Takes kind of a shot, like of the rice wine that she had just poured Alarian some of, and she takes a big swig of it, almost just like she had a hard work day. Like like she drank like you want to drink after 16 hours of overtime in one day, you know? Um she almost looks tired now. Like the energy that you had saw in this woman uh before you sat down is almost entirely gone. Not her cheeriness, not any sense of her hospitality, but just her energy. Um, she says, kind of after being quiet for a while, I really hope that you find the answers to the questions you all seek without causing it too much pain. You notice at this point that the harvest ritual at this point has been completed for a little bit. They've wrapped up behind you. The trail has all but cleared out, and you are in fact left with no one but this old lady. The farmers have went back to their actual, uh, mostly rice basins where they have begun to collect their fields. Hugo and Kimura, you're sticking to not letting her read your tea. Fair enough. Absolutely can do that. All right, you guys will in that case just be getting back onto your horses and starting to make your travels again. What is it that you're climbing, Doke? Oh no, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely free to walk back to the horses. Yeah, absolutely free to bamboo it up, brother. Um, you're so funny. Yeah, you guys just make about your day. Once again, like I said, you guys are following around this river. uh, she got. Sato doesn't want none of that nonsense. He's rolling the dice on everything in his life, and he doesn't want her in his head. So Sato don't want none of that. Sato, yeah, absolutely. Like, what's it gonna happen? Either she says it's all gonna work, and he's like, yeah, I was already hoping that, or she says it's not gonna work, and now I'm gonna think about that all the fucking time. That's not what I want for me. Um, I don't want to do it. And also, you can't ask me out of game and then try to find out in-game useful info. Out of game, is there an enemy in the next corner? Like, out of game, is that enemy resistant to fire? Yeah, like, hey, out of game, slip me some extra gold. You said, and I, and okay, so then why do you need to ask it out of game? Hey, out of game, can I press this guy? Like, either press the guy. you, I guess I am just shocked that that crossed your mind to do, Phil. Anyhow, um, you could press them if you would like to. Would you like to press them before continuing? Okay. Um, so per the usual, you guys stay at an inn because again, it's incredibly easy to. Um, Sometimes the inn is not much more than you basically staying in somebody's house because there's not like a official inn for that village and you're yeah, some of their accommodations aren't much better than that, but for the most part, it's just you kind of living out of somebody else's house, more like Airbnb than barn life. Because again, they are quite an accommodating group. What's mine is yours, yours is mine, within a reasonable degree. Um, I thought that the rice looked a hell of a lot like weed, so I just want to state very clearly that these are rice paddies. This is not a weed farm. Um, I got it. Yep, I got to do the same thing I've had to do for the other ones, which is go, what about? Listen, I caveated what I said for a reason ahead of time. it is it is it is specifically listed as a patty farm. It is a rice patty farm. I'll have to die. I have to die on this hill. There we go. Yes. This is um so like a big comparison to really consider is this is a big uh example of a terrace farm. Like if you look over here, you see the different actual elevations of these little basins. So in comparison to like what would be like your family's farm, they have a much larger basin. So this one circle of water that they only have to keep at one level has a greater surface area than all these tiny little ones that they have to manage. Like if you especially like look at some of the ones in the south, for instance, some of them are super thin. They all have to be managed separately. That water level has to be managed separately. So terrace farming, it's effective for the fact that you're in the mountains, but it's more work for less total product compared to your family farm, which is right at the bottom of a mountain, isn't focused on terrace farming and is focused on having a nice little flat basin. It's one big basin that you only have to worry about one water level, and it makes you a ton of rice. Yeah. Uh, um, with that, you guys are basically just traveling through. It's just part of the fact that the main road that you guys are traveling happens to take you through some places like this, and that's simply because the road isn't built in the middle of nowhere. The farms aren't built in the middle of nowhere. Like I said, for the most part, the general structure is river, village, and then road. So pretty pretty common that most of the road that you're actually going by is a lot of times things like this. You're walking by tons and tons of farmland because the farmland is all coming from the river. Most of these water supplies are only existing either because of the river or because of a spring, and then they use irrigation to actually use what is effectively a series of mini dams to like control the water level. It's pretty cool. And so as you guys are walking, you see farmers like actively doing this. Um, and you also notice that the time of year is finally actually starting to set in on the trees. You're finally starting to really see autumn really kicking in. And trees that were originally green have started to turn yellow. Um, and you do get the impression that it looks like it's going to be a good harvest. The farmers at this point have actually started beginning to collect the rice, and you see multiple people out in different parts of the field all beginning to sheathe and collect and harvest the product that is going to help feed all of Shinkyo and all of the Ikkaku Peninsula for the rest of winter. But other than that, you guys are kind of just traveling through. If there's not anything that you want to specifically investigate about the map, um, nothing about this area is going to really call out to you. You're just walking through the farmland, basically. Um, One thing I did want to ask, when you guys do like sitting down to dinner, do you actually talk to like any of the other residents that are in the inn? Are you mostly sticking to just the party? What's your vibe when you go into these taverns to eat or these inns to? I guess you aren't really trying to talk to people in an inn where you're going to sleep, but more so the taverns, like when you're going down to eat. Are you trying to socialize with the other patrons? Fair. Anyone? Fair. Interesting. Um, it's funny that you say that now. You're funny, Phil. Um, I don't know too much about the Ronin camp, but if you're headed in that direction, I heard that a couple of the Imperials set up a choke point just yonder. He's basically pointing in the direction you're going to be traveling in within the next day. Uh, they ain't been letting nobody get through without paying them. And now I know it's a handful though. Yes, sir. Uh, Good looks getting to that Ronin camp. Once you get west side of the Seven Springs, things get a little spirally. With that, you are free to discuss that with the um, rest of the group in the morning before you guys head out. But otherwise, you guys are just heading out for the morning. Well, I mean, so we had the original Stone Palace, that was one. The Bathhouse, that's two. The Bamboo Path, that's three. Canyon Crash, that's four. Bamboo Shrine, that's five. And now we're just about to do Terrace Farm, that's six. So you should have popped six rests at this point before going into any combat. So people should be at full health by this point. If I was unclear, it just got set up like a couple days ago, or within the last day or so. Yeah, just throwing that out there. Let's see. You guys can do that however you would like to. It's oddly quiet. While you guys are figuring out what you're doing, I'm taking the opportunity to change the scaling size of these tokens. And you say, but Shane, isn't that something you should do ahead of time? And it's like, I wish I could. I wish that every single time that I loaded up the scene, even if I stayed in this scene and didn't simply just hit refresh on the screen, they didn't change their scaling back. But they do. All right. You're Abdullah Obligata. Okay. I'm gonna use your Venara change size for the first time. Very nice. Did you mean banana? You're like, they're not. Ah, congratulations, man. Yeah, for anyone that didn't know, Brian got a new laptop just for this, and we have went up from 6 frames per second to like 60. We added a zero. Look at this guy. He said, actually, I'm gonna pop a couple more on there, Yeah. There you go. Um, yeah, yeah. Mm. I feel that. Uh, with a 30 to your stealth check, as you went small, you definitely hug against that wall. There's a little bit of vegetation for you to work with, and you basically are just kind of like a little chameleon against the wall. You're one little, one little, one little tongue jut away from being iguana. Um, Anybody else want to do any type of preparation? Plan on doing anything before you guys are viewed or addressed by Imperial soldiers? My follow-up question is, um, I mean, I don't necessarily know how you guys plan on doing this, but if it does end up leading into combat, that obviously could take a little bit. Do you guys just want to call it, the tiniest little bit early for tonight? We're at like 19 minutes early, but ultimately, I feel like that's better than stopping in the middle of a likely combat. Yeah. All right. Well, perfect. That is the end of our second session of the new Minhai campaign. Um, we are off and rolling. We in our first month of posting did on Instagram alone like 3.3 thousand views. On YouTube we've did 1.8 thousand views. Of that, like 1.1 thousand of them are just in the last week. Yeah. No. Um. Yeah. We're actually um getting views. We only have a couple of likes so far from outside of like my actual sphere group, but they are, already a couple legitimate likes, and we are in our first month of actually posting. I have literally one single piece of content being posted every single day in between our sessions. Um, so like, yeah, we're just chilling, man. It's just we're on and rolling. Um, I think this is going to be a ton of fun. I'm really happy that you guys like what I've done so far. I really wanted to try to make travel interesting and not have it all just be humdrum. I thought that the tug of war for the cart was kind of an interesting mechanic. Um, and frankly, you guys are just going into your sixth day. The 10th day is going to be your ferry day, and I was already prepared up to the 10th day. So I don't know how much content I have prepared. Uh, Once again proceeded to be a lot more than I needed. Um, which just means with that said, I don't know when you guys are available to go again, but like I'm already ready for next session. Like whenever. Yeah. Like let's go whenever. Um if you guys are available like March 14th, is that our next one? March 7th, March 14th, whatever. Okay. When will So does that mean that the 14th doesn't work for you, Jake? Okay. Alrighty. right? So I mean, I guess it would possibly be the 21st or 28th at that point. All right. Around. All right. Um. I guess I could do this.